So there is some evidence, and again, there's a lot of research needs to be done on this, but I find it fascinating, about in the womb, babies are exposed to mother's hormones. Right. So that could be testosterone, that could be estrogen, that could be any different variety of things. And those change or turn on different genes in the baby. So for example, if a baby was exposed to a lot of testosterone prenatally, they're going to develop more masculinized feature, both men and women. So we know a face is very masculine if they have a very, very square jaw, if they have the presence of stubble, if they have flat eyebrows and or slightly hooded eyebrows. That's your face. Okay.
Sounds wonderful.
No. It's a good thing. It's a good thing because it's a very masculinized face. Right. So that is 100% right. So in the book, I have computer graphics of incompetent faces to competent faces, not dominant faces to dominant, not competent to competent, and then I think it's trustworthy, not trustworthy, trustworthy. Right. So you fall very high on the dominance scale. So if someone turned around and you were in a back alley, you look very masculinized, which means that you have a lot of testosterone, and typically men with more testosterone are going to be, more powerful, have shorter temper, all these things. So it's about the shape of your jaw, it's about the hooding of your eyebrows, and then the presence of stubble, and you wear stubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is a good thing. Does
it help that if the little old lady turns around and I actually worry about it, like I distance like if I find myself and I know this woman is gonna have a heart attack if she turns around, so I'll start slowing down, or I'll walk over to the side and fast so she can see hi.
Yeah.
I try to do my neutral goofy face.
Let me see it.
How is it? It's
very good.
The arched eyebrows, I try to half smile. And I feel like such a dumbass.
No.
But I'm I have seen photos. So I used to do speech and debate in high school.
Oh, yeah.
And one time, I crushed it. I was so excited. And I got the review back, and it was dude, what is wrong? Try not to look so angry. And I was like, what? I literally, and so I read it to someone. They're like, yeah, dude, can you, put your head down and then look up? You look like a serial killer.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? So literally, I go in the bathroom, I tilt my head down and I look up.
Yeah, oh my God.
I thought, I was like, what the hell?
Wait, do that to a camera, because that is, yeah.
That's when I realized.
Yeah, that's intense.
Man.
I'm like, that's fine. Yeah, so yeah, but now you know why, right? You know it's the shape of your jaw and your face. So what you did is perfect. You optimized how you were naturally wired, right? Okay, right? So show me your, what did you call it? Your goofy, silly face?
My goofy, neutral face.
Can I see your goofy, neutral face again? Okay, perfect. Okay, can I explain why this works from a scientific perspective? Okay, so when we raise our eyebrows up, it is the universal sign of interest or engagement. For example, if I were in a bar and go, you would know what I meant. Right. Or if I were to be listening and be like, oh, you would know that means I'm literally trying to see more, right? It's the invocation of that. So with your eyebrows up, it changes the shape of that hooded look. Right, so when you're like this is a very high testosterone when your eyebrows are hooded. So when you push them up, not only does it show openness, engagement, curiosity, say hi, it also takes away the hooding. And then you also slightly opened your mouth a little bit. That also softens your jaw. So in a way, that takes your face and just makes it more open. I think that this is actually a very good thing, because I think it's part of the reasons why you are so successful.
Wow.
We like people who are very powerful, who have high testosterone. We like it for both men and women. So your look shows intensity, it shows strength, it shows power. So never be angry at how you are wired, your genetics, how your face looks, because that is, I think, a huge contributor to your success. And I feel that way with everyone. We all have things about our face, about our personality, about our body, that we don't like, but I think that if we can frame it as this has been an aspect, or it can be an aspect of our success, that's extremely important. For example, I also have resting bitch face. Should I critique myself?
Please, yes.
I feel like I was critiquing you, so I should critique myself as well. So I have resting bitch face, and the reason for this is because my features angle downwards. So at rest, this is me at rest. Right, and I just look terrible, right? I'm just I'm bored, I'm upset. And that is because my lips, when they're at rest, angle slightly downwards, and my eyes also angle slightly downwards. Even if I'm totally neutral, they angle down. So I know that I can look very, very serious. But that has also helped me because I am a science researcher, right? Like it's very important for me to look like I'm taking things seriously as I am. So when I want to be more on or engaged, you'll notice that I actually do my makeup a very specific way. I don't know if you can see my makeup.
Yeah, angle
So
up.
I angle up.
Yep.
And I also put my shadow a little bit above my brow bone, a little bit above my eye to bring my eyes up.
Right.
That is because I know that's going to make me look a little happier, a little less sad, a little less intense. So this is something that I know about myself, but I don't think that that's a bad thing. It's just something that I know I have to counteract a little bit.
All right, so I want to go back to radical honesty.
Yes.
So what does that look like? Like, what are you actually saying to your friends in particular?
So this means that instead of making up an excuse, I will just tell them the real reason I don't want to do something. So for example, a good friend of mine was like, hey, I have this networking event that I'm throwing. It's with a bunch of women in Oregon. I live in Portland. You should definitely come and do like a little speaking thing, and it'll be really great. Instead of me saying, oh, I'm really busy, or I don't have time for it right now, I was like, hey, I do terribly at really big, loud networking events. You don't want me there. Like, I get really anxious. Like, it's really hard for me. Is there any way that we could do a luncheon instead, where we're like around a table where we can like talk sort of in a more quiet environment? So instead of making up some excuse, I actually will tell them the real reason why I do or don't want to do something, and then we try to work around it.
And what does that look like at work?
At work, so we have a wonderful team. So we're about 6 people in our lab, and then we have 120 Science People trainers. So our trainers are body language trainers, and they do my curriculum in their different cities around the world. Yeah. So basically what this means is we have a very direct task management system. So I think that is incredibly important with your team to A, know their personality matrix. So I know everyone on my team, their personality matrix, and also how they like to receive feedback and how they like to brainstorm. So for example, let's say that I have an idea and I want to do a big brainstorming session. I like to brainstorm out loud, but I know that 2 of my team members do not. So they might say to me, if we're in a big brainstorming session, and I'm like, any ideas? Any ideas? And it's like crickets. They would say to me, and they would have complete permission to do so, hey, Vanessa, would there be any way that you could write down these ideas, give us about a week to kind of prepare something, and then we could get back together next Friday? I'm not really ready to brainstorm right now. Instead of having a really lame, drawn-out 50-minute session where no one's really throwing around any ideas. So it's a much faster way to speak to our natural orientations in the workplace or on our team.
Talk to me about identifying primary values and what they are so that you know how to better deal with people.
Yeah. So I was always fascinated by motivation, in the workplace especially. How do you motivate a partner? How do you motivate a colleague? How do you appeal to their interests? I talk about this in the book a little bit. I always thought that with colleagues, the biggest motivation was money, right? Salary, perks, bonuses. I thought that was sort of most of the reason why you work. You hopefully work for a little bit of passion as well, but you're getting sort of, you're trying to pay the bills. And so I had one of my employees who was doing an amazing job, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give her a raise and a bonus. She's been doing such a good job. So I had to move around some things budget-wise, but I really wanted to show her how appreciative I was. We get together and I say, I'm so excited, I would love to give you a raise and a bonus. And she was like, thanks. And I was like, that's it?
Yeah.
Like that's all? And then I discovered this research on resource theory. And so resource theory says that every interaction, every relationship is a transaction. Now, I know that sounds really terrible, but actually it's a very honest, very radically honest way of looking at relationships. And there are 6 different resources that we all give and take. And these are different than the love languages. This is resources. Okay. One of them is money, and that's the one that we think about a lot. We talk about it a lot. But what I found out is this particular employee, her primary value was actually status.
How did you find that out?
So when I realized she had kind of like a lackluster response, she was like,
literally,
oh, thanks.
You do the thing, lackluster response, you're feeling a little
I feel terrible. I actually feel terrible because I went out of the way to make budget for her.
Right.
And I also really wanted to thank her for her amazing work. And so when she was like not happy, I was like...
But you had to read through, not the lie, but like she was saying, thank you, oh, yay.
Negative nonverbal, right? I was seeing, so when we're talking about nonverbal, there's either micro advantages or micro negatives.
Micro advantages?
Micro advantages or micro negatives.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, so like a micro advantage is if you ask a good question, I would be like nodding at you, I'd like smile, I'd be like, oh, that's great, I'd widen my eyebrows. Those are all micro advantages I'm giving you to say, I love that question.
Okay.
A micro negative, this is what you probably pick up on without realizing it, are all the things people do when they don't like a question. So maybe they lean back, maybe they make a face, maybe they pinch their eyebrows together, maybe they crinkle their nose up at you. Yeah. They might turn their head away and bite their nails. Those are all micro negatives. So I noticed that she wasn't showing any micro advantages and a couple of micro negatives, which is the exact opposite of what you would expect if you just told someone that they got a raise. So I felt terrible. I felt terrible also because I was worried that she was unhappy.
And did you notice it right there in the moment?
Right there and then, right in the moment.
Like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
And now that I hopefully just taught that to you guys, I'm very curious if you now start seeing them right away. The nice thing about body language is it doesn't take a long time. Once you know what to look for, you see it all the time.
Yeah.
So I noticed it right away, and I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, it will be in your next month's paycheck, and you know, I'm just so grateful. Thank you so much for all your hard work. I've really appreciated your work. And she's like, oh yeah, it was my pleasure. I love the science people. Okay, we're good. But I felt terrible because I was worried that she didn't like her job. Because I was like, what else could be the reason? What else could be the reason? I was like, oh my gosh, she's thinking about quitting. My neuroticism went crazy. My neuroticism was like, she's gonna quit, she hates me, she hates science people, right? Like I went all the way down that route. And so when I stumbled upon this study that maybe I was looking into motivation, I was reading a white paper on employee engagement and employee motivation because I was worried about losing her. Sure. I found this resource theory and I was like, wait a minute, status. And I started to think back to the times when she showed a lot of micro advantages. And one of the times was when we created an About Our Team page and I put pictures of each person on the page. She was so excited. She was like, oh, I'm gonna go get a new headshot. I can't wait. Like, she showed me like 15 headshots. She's like, which one has the best body language? She was so excited. And I was like, I didn't think much of it at the time, but I was like, I wonder if that's status. So I had a meeting with her and I said, radically honest, I was like, you know, I offered you a raise last month because I'm so appreciative of your work. I don't know if that was what you wanted. Is that what you wanted? If I want to show you how grateful I am for you, what way can I do that for you here at work? And she said, actually, you know, I really have been wanting a director role. I was like, great, let's talk about a director role. Let's get you on a plan where we look at titles. So I didn't realize that there was all these other things, like putting her name on the website, putting her in more YouTube videos with me. I didn't realize that that was actually a huge give and so easy for me to give because I am so grateful for her. And so for me, like, it was like, I was so thankful that we were able to get very quickly, very honestly to what her value was. And I think this is the big challenge, is figuring out yours, and then also trying to figure out every single person that you work with, including your friends and family.
If you like that clip, check out another powerful clip right here, and I'll see you there.